Yeah, baby.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
Just when the wheels fall off.
You're not.
Jasmine Crockett strutted into the spotlight like she owned the place. Eyeliner sharp, attitude sharper, thinking she'd steal the show. But Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly weren't there to play nice. Gutfeld roasted her so hard it felt like arson, and Megyn shredded her logic like a failed courtroom script. Jasmine brought sass to a strategy game and got checkmated on live TV.
It's just, that's what she does. She puts out this video of her acting in a certain way, and that's how she fundraises.
We actually did a bit of a deep dive on her after my old colleague from Fox News, Todd Starnes, posted something on X not long ago, Walter. He posted the following: Jasmine Crockett wants you to think she's from the hood, that she grew up on the streets. The exact opposite is true. She attended an exclusive day school where tuition is nearly $35,000 a year. She also attended Rhodes College, a private school where tuition is nearly $55,000 a year. She's cosplaying a gangsta. So we looked up her background. She was born in St. Louis. She's 43. Her dad was a Baptist pastor and a teacher. Her mother worked in a post office. She graduated from Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School, one of the most expensive private schools in the city. Indeed, the current tuition, $35,000 a year.
Jasmine Crockett walked into Congress like she'd crash-landed straight from a Bravo spinoff nobody ordered, somewhere between courtroom drama and reality TV meltdown. She treated C-SPAN like it was the Bad Girls Club Capitol Hill edition. And let's be real, if TikTok tantrums and Twitter clapbacks counted as qualifications, she'd be Speaker, Majority Leader, and Secretary of Sass all at once. But sadly for Jasmine, real politics isn't about side eyes and sound bites. It's about substance, and she left that back in her Instagram drafts.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman. Roll it, Bertha.
The fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, is this because you don't understand history, or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you?
That's not very woke, is it?
Then came Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly, two media assassins who don't need filters, lighting, or fluff to land a blow. They didn't show up for polite politics. They came to roast, and not the campfire kind. Jasmine Crockett looked like she'd wandered into Shark Tank dressed for RuPaul's Drag Race, Capital Chaos Edition. This wasn't a debate, it was verbal carnage. No buzzers, no pleasantries, just a full-blown demolition derby. And poor Jasmine, she rolled in with a tricycle to a monster truck war.
Speaking of leftist hypocrisy and cluelessness, Jasmine Crockett is a rising star amongst the far-left progressives in this country. She's a representative from Houston, Texas, of all places, which makes no sense because she seems to be far too left for Houston, but apparently not, because they elected her. It must be like, Orange County in California being like the one outlier in an otherwise uniformly state, like all red with the one blue, all blue with the one red. Okay, so Jasmine Crockett got up at a Los Angeles dinner this past Saturday, and it was hosted by, this is perfect, the Human Rights Campaign.
Let's be real. Gutfeld didn't just show up. He stormed in with the chaotic energy of a snarky raccoon who's not only read every line of the Constitution, but figured out how to weaponize sarcasm like a political superpower. Every sentence was a jab wrapped in wit, every punchline laced with legal shade. And then came Megyn Kelly, cool, controlled, and lethal, like the principal who walks into a school cafeteria mid-food fight, clipboard in hand, and zero tolerance in her stare. Jasmine, she was the kid flinging mashed potatoes like it was a TikTok prank, blissfully unaware the security cameras were rolling in crystal clear 4K, capturing every messy second she thought no one would remember.
That was 3 years ago. The ones of her just sounding like a normal person talking, 3 years. It's not like that was 20 years, but then she moved to Mississippi for all that time. That was 3 years ago. She sounded like a totally normal person. It's only now she's got her accent and she's going to kick everybody's ass. It's such an affectation.
Crockett's entire political persona runs on aesthetic outrage. She's basically the congressional version of slapping glitter on a lawsuit. It's loud, it's sparkly, it grabs attention, but beneath all that shimmer, it's a big ol' nothing burger served with a double side of sass. Her appearance wasn't policy driven, it was performance art. Less legislation, more cosplay. Somewhere between I'm reclaiming my time and can I finish my sentence? She seemed to forget that real governance isn't about viral moments or dramatic pauses. It's about doing the work, and no amount of fierce glares can substitute for actual leadership when the cameras stop rolling.
Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices.
Greg didn't even need to raise his voice. A few bone-dry observations and Jasmine Crockett's entire argument collapsed faster than a cheap suit straight out of a campaign donor clearance bin. Her talking points? Greg handled them like expired coupons. Useless, outdated, and not valid in any serious discussion. Every time she puffed up, ready to deliver what she clearly thought was a mic drop moment, Greg just blinked, barely, not out of politeness, but because he was so unimpressed, it looked like he could have solved a Sudoku puzzle mid-rant and still had time to roast her before she finished her sentence. Then came Megyn Kelly, the kind of presence that makes a room sit up straighter without saying a word. While Jasmine was out here auditioning for a congressional remake of Mean Girls, Megyn came locked and loaded with receipts, timelines, facts, and the unnerving ability to eviscerate someone without even shifting her tone. Watching her dismantle Jasmine's entire political brand was like watching an IRS auditor with a personal vendetta, cold, thorough, and wildly satisfying. And remember, this wasn't a formal debate, no podiums, no timers. So when Kelly went in, she didn't wait her turn. She dissected Crockett's legislative record like a frog in a high school biology lab. And spoiler alert, there wasn't much to dissect. Jasmine's contribution to American politics reads like a failed group project. She showed up late, added emojis to the PowerPoint, and then tried to take credit for the entire thing.
So this is funny. Jasmine Crockett sits on the Judiciary Committee, and about a month ago, Walter, I testified.
Yes, we saw this.
Yeah, and the hearings, the full committee hearings, are quite long. You can be there for over 4 hours. So, and they let the most junior members ask questions last. So I had to sit for quite a long time, and then at the very end, Jasmine Crockett, who I'd never heard before, suddenly started screaming at me and Michael Schellenberger. And when you're a witness in Congress, you have to pay attention to what everybody says, because you never know when you're going to be asked an actual question and allowed to, maybe even allowed to speak. But I could not understand what she was saying. She was moving from one thing to another, and she was doing all that code switching stuff with the y'alls and y'all eyeing on this and everything.
Meanwhile, Gutfeld cuts straight to the uncomfortable truth. Jasmine Crockett isn't in politics for policy. She's in it for the performance. Her entire brand thrives on curated outrage, built on finger snaps, eye rolls, and caption-ready theatrics. It's not that she lacks intelligence, it's that she chooses dishonesty when the camera's red light is on and the hashtag potential is high. She doesn't need a debate stage. She needs a PR team and a legislative mentor, someone to gently remind her that Congress isn't an improv stage with a glam squad and a catchphrase quota. One moment said it all. Jasmine tried to spin a dramatic soundbite about fighting for the people, expecting applause or at least a dramatic beat drop, but Gutfeld didn't even bother with a rebuttal. He just smirked and let the silence work its magic, exposing the hollow rhetoric like a spotlight on a mime who forgot the routine. That's how you destroy someone without uttering a word. And Megyn, she didn't even blink. That kind of stone-cold composure only comes from someone who survived 5 election cycles, 12 news scandals, and probably ghosted more pundits than a real housewife in her 6th messy divorce. Jasmine's supporters Others may call her bold. And sure, if yelling at a fast food drive-thru counts as bold, then she's practically a hero. But volume doesn't equal value, and drama doesn't mean depth. While Crockett turned every appearance into a GIF-worthy tantrum, Greg and Megyn were busy delivering a masterclass in political takedowns. Call it how not to embarrass yourself while trying to sound smart.
This woman, I've had about enough of her. She wants to be like a member of the squad. She thinks of herself like an AOC. She talks like, you know, she's from the hood. Meanwhile, she grew up in a nice family. She didn't talk like this 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she sounded like you and I sound in this conversation. Like, I'm really excited to be going to Congress. I can't wait to get started on my new job. And now she's like, we need to smack him in the head.
We know that we work for the American people. And what we not gonna do is stand around while they pull this that they trying to pull right now.
Like, what do you, we have videotape. Why are you talking like that? No one believes this bullshit. And now she's graduated to acting like a thug. So congratulations, your term in the US Congress is going really well.
That was a great impression.
She tossed out buzzwords like confetti at a New Year's Eve party, hoping anything might stick. But this wasn't Times Square, and Jasmine Crockett wasn't celebrating a win. She was the turkey at a political roast, and the oven was on full blast. Her entire defense strategy boiled down to eye rolls so dramatic, it's a miracle she didn't sprain an optic nerve right there on live television. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly stayed icy and exact, citing bills, voting records, and something Crockett clearly hadn't brushed up on since her last viral tweet: reality. It wasn't a debate, it was a beatdown. Crockett brought vibes. Greg and Megyn brought receipts, facts, and footnotes. And there's something tragically poetic about the distance between how Jasmine sees herself and how she actually performs. In her mind, she's preaching from the mountaintop, some righteous blend of revolution and resistance. In reality, she's barely operating above TikTok activist energy, trying to pass off Twitter threads as policy. After a takedown that scorched everything from her brand to her credibility, you'd think she'd retreat, regroup, maybe crack open a civics textbook, or God forbid read an actual bill. But no, she doubled down like someone who just discovered Uno cards and assumed reverse could apply in Congress. Skip, draw 4, roll your eyes, and hope nobody notices the argument has no substance. But this time, Gutfeld and Kelly weren't playing games. They were handing out reality checks. And Jasmine's? It bounced higher than her press conference promises and landed squarely in the pile marked not serious.
Do you share your boxcar with people of color?
I do.
Yeah.
My boxcar does not know race, does not know gender. It is a welcome space where only deodorant is not welcome. I like this Jasmine Crockett lady, right?
It's a great name, isn't it, for a villain?
Yeah.
Crockett is the whitest last name you could ever have. I just want to throw that out there.
Sonny Crockett, Miami Vice.
Yes?
It's like the whole thing is like, because I've seen her, she's very well spoken, and then she gets on certain programs and lets it. So maybe this whole thing is like a Netflix documentary, like a new spin on Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde.
And here's the thing, it wasn't even personal. Gutfeld and Kelly didn't come for Jasmine's wig. They came for the hollow, influencer-style activism that turns congressional hearings into clickbait carnivals. The kind of spectacle where every glare becomes a meme, and every phrase sounds like it belongs on a BuzzFeed listicle. 29 times, Jasmine Crockett eyeballed her way to justice. If she spent even half the time crafting policy that she spends perfecting her camera angles, she might actually pass something with substance. Something that doesn't read like a tweet disguised as legislation. Let's talk about results, that rare, endangered thing politicians are supposed to deliver. Gutfeld, master of calm destruction, pointed out what most were too polite to say. Jasmine Crockett's resume reads like someone Googled how to sound woke in 3 easy steps and gave up after step 1. No major bills, no landmark change, just loud theatrics wrapped in a fog of self-importance and curated outrage. Her version of progress is getting retweeted by someone with a ring light and a blue check mark, because in her world, going viral matters more than getting votes. And Megyn Kelly, she sliced through that performance with the precision of a chainsaw through a butter sculpture. Smooth, cold, and devastating. Strip away the noise, and Crockett's political career isn't about serving the public. It's about building a brand, and that's not governance. That's PR with a superiority complex.
But she is going to be the gift that keeps on giving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You are going to be so glad she
Keep
popped
her
up
around
on the scene.
That's going to make up for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We're going to get a segment a day from her.
You ever watch someone confuse attention for impact? That's Jasmine Crockett in a nutshell. A walking soundbite machine who thinks every critique is an attack and every question is oppression. She doesn't answer challenges, she performs them. I feel disrespected isn't legislation. I feel attacked doesn't fix inflation, but it trends, it triggers headlines, and it keeps the spotlight exactly where she wants it, on her. Gutfeld, never one to waste words, nailed it with ruthless clarity. Crockett's approach to politics is like microwaving a frozen dinner and calling it homemade soul food. It's quick, it's loud, it smells like effort, but once you bite in, it's empty calories. She builds arguments like flat pack furniture, fast, flashy, and guaranteed to wobble under any real pressure. Her method? Scream first, gesture wildly next, then blame everything from the system to the air in the room. And somehow, through this emotional gymnastics, she still imagines herself as a modern-day freedom fighter. More specifically, Rosa Parks with Wi-Fi and a glam filter. Except Rosa Parks didn't film her defiance in selfie mode. Megyn Kelly didn't even need to go for the jugular. She just exposed what was already paper thin. Jasmine's talking points disintegrated on contact like a cheap poster in a rainstorm. Because in the end, you can't fight for justice with empty slogans, performative outrage, and recycled hashtags. You can't demand credibility while showcasing ignorance like it's a sponsored accessory.
Like, this is, if you're gonna talk about Black history, at least know it. This is, at least know it, okay? But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation?
Crockett's go-to move? That signature stare. The one she pulls out when all her arguments run dry, but she still wants the room to think she's sitting on some secret wisdom only she can access. Like a sassy Magic 8 ball stuck on try again later. But Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly aren't buying it. They've seen that stare before. It's not defiance. It's a stall tactic in disguise. The roast was so ruthless, it didn't even need a rebuttal. Crockett's silence wasn't golden. It was pure defeat. There's a special kind of public collapse when someone runs out of spin mid-sentence and suddenly realizes the applause isn't coming. That's exactly what happened. And let's not kid ourselves, this wasn't a fluke or a bad day. This is the signature move of Crockett's entire congressional career, a masterclass in loud wrongness. She doesn't walk into Congress to contribute. She shows up like it's amateur night at a slam poetry bar, convinced it's her open mic. Meanwhile, back in reality, where constituents want results, not TikTok tantrums, Gutfeld and Kelly delivered a necessary reset. Hey, can we stop pretending vibes equal vision? Because Jasmine Crockett isn't representing voters, she's farming followers. You'd think after being memed by two of the sharpest tongues in political commentary, she'd lay low, rethink, maybe swap sass for substance. Nope, she'll probably respond with a statement made entirely of emojis, filmed from the backseat of a Tesla, Starbucks cup in one hand, and a misquoted Malcolm X in the other. Let's take a moment to appreciate the full scope of the destruction. Gutfeld, with his classic "I've seen it all and I'm bored" tone, peeled Crockett like a banana and hit the obvious. If your entire strategy is performative outrage, you're not a politician, you're a YouTube reaction channel in a blazer. Kelly, who could file a lawsuit with just a glance, didn't just dismantle Crockett's argument, she audited her political soul. Watching that was like seeing someone roasted in Latin and still catching every brutal insult. There's something beautifully savage about a takedown that's brains over brawl. Crockett wasn't ready for a chess match. She came equipped for a slap fight. Here's the kicker, she still thinks she won, like a Survivor contestant finishing last, but insisting she played a social game. Sweetheart, you didn't play, you got played.